Well, welcome back. Welcome back to me, maybe. My name is Don K. Preston. I am the president of Preterist Research Institute of Ardmore, Oklahoma, and this is what I call my morning musings. I took a little break from the morning musings, do some research, do some writing, and to celebrate 45th wedding anniversary to my absolutely fantastic wife. We took some time off, went to Eureka Springs, Arkansas. First time we'd ever been there, even though we had, not first time we'd been there, first time we'd ever really stopped and visited. Very interesting community there. Uh, you know, we had a really, really good time. But main thing, of course, is the fact of celebrating our 45th wedding anniversary. She's just an absolutely wonderful woman. She is the love of my life, and I appreciate her so very, very much. Well, here we are. This is June the 23rd, 2014. I was going to do another in my series on principles for how to understand Bible prophecy, but I have to take just a moment here. You know, back several months ago, in response to my YouTube presentations, someone by the name of J KLY posted that I was a heretic, a false teacher, guilty of damnable doctrine, and I was doomed to eternal hell because I just did not understand Bible prophecy. J KLY proceeded to tell me and to inform me that the man of sin would, without any doubt whatsoever, sign a peace treaty with Israel, granting her permission to rebuild the temple on the Temple Mount. Now, of course, that would necessitate the removal of the Dome of the Rock. And J KLY informed me and anyone who would read his posts that anyone who could read Scripture ought to know that this would take place no later than the end of spring 2014. Well, the end of spring was June the 21st, 2014. That's several days ago now. Well, in response to Mr. J KLY's rather strident and caustic comments in regard to me, I made a challenge to Mr. J KLY. I said, let's put up or shut up. If the man of sin and Israel sign a peace treaty before or no later than June the 21st, 2014, last Friday now, if that peace treaty is signed, allowing for the rebuilding of the temple on the Temple Mount, the removal of the Dome of the Rock, I would send J KLY $1,000. On the other hand, if such a peace treaty was not signed between the man of sin and Israel, allowing for the removal of the Dome of the Rock, allowing for the rebuilding of the temple on the Temple Mount, J KLY would send me $1,000. Well, in response, Mr. J KLY said, no, let's not do that. Let's make it $100. To which I agreed. So, the challenge was that a peace treaty allowing Israel to rebuild the temple on the Temple Mount, necessitating the removal of the Dome of the Rock, had to have been signed. And by the way, that treaty was to be signed between John Kerry as the representative of our president no later than June 21st, 2014. Well, needless to say, that peace treaty was not signed. You know, it's really interesting. I haven't received an email from Mr. J KLY. I have not seen a post on my YouTube. You know, I'll have to check that this morning. I'm suspecting I will not receive any kind of a response from Mr. J KLY in regard to his agreement. Now, he gave his word as a, quote, Christian gentleman, unquote, that if that peace treaty was not signed by June 21st or June 22nd, he would send me $100. To show you the problem here, as I continually pressed Mr. J KLY, he actually said, well, I guess you know, I can just come in and remove all of my posts so that no one even knows about the challenge. Well, no, I cut and pasted a lot of that correspondence into my posts. You know, folks, the great tragedy here is the continual false prophecies that come from the dispensational world. Now, make no mistake, I understand that there are many wonderful people in the dispensational world, but Mr. J KLY kind of went beyond the pale, so to speak, calling me the false teacher, the heretic, guilty of damnable doctrine, because I failed to see what he claimed was the obvious truth, that the peace treaty between the man of sin and Israel would be signed no later than June 21st. You know, I can't even seem to find Mr. J KLY on YouTube right now. Certainly have not received any notification from him that the $100 check will be in the mail. But again, you see, the real tragedy here is that every few months we find another prediction by the dispensational premillennial world that the end is going to be at such and such date. Oh, all of those previous predictions, they had it wrong. I've got it right, we are told by the newest prognosticator. Folks, this is a tragedy. It brings shame on the name of Christ. It is time for the Christian world. Oh, I understand the amillennialists make no such predictions. I understand that the postmillennialists make no such predictions. And yet the amillennial and the postmillennial world continue to put the coming of the Lord, judgment and resurrection, off somewhere in the future. It does not matter that they say, well, we don't predict such dates as June 21st like J KLY did. It's not the point. The New Testament did not have a near day of the Lord and a far day of the Lord. It did not have an end of the age that was at hand and an end of the age that was far, far away. And so while it is certainly a greater tragedy to read and to hear from men such as Mr. J KLY, who set the date for the signing of the peace treaty, and obviously that date has shown that he is in fact the false teacher, it's also a tragedy that my amillennial and that my postmillennial friends continue to put an eschatology off into the future when the New Testament is unambiguous, clear, that the coming of the Lord, the judgment and the resurrection was to be in the first century. Now, Mr. J KLY, if you are out there, if you are a man of integrity, if you are a man that believes that keeping your word is of paramount importance as a believer in Jesus, then you're going to step up to the plate and honor your commitment to send me $100. And obviously the money here is not the issue, is it? Although honesty and integrity demands that the pledge be kept. The most important thing here, folks, is to realize it's time to stop making all of these false predictions. The coming of the Lord, the judgment and the resurrection is not in our future. It happened in the first century, just like Jesus and all of the New Testament writers said it would do, and it would be, and it was fulfilled. Mr. J KLY, I'll be looking for that check. Unfortunately, I really don't expect it. And what a sad testimony that is. Well, thanks for joining me for this morning's Morning Musings, folks. Look, let me repeat an offer I've made in the past. You see, the problem with Mr. J KLY and others is they deny, they reject, or they subvert the language of the New Testament about the imminence of the coming of the Lord in the first century. I wrote a little book entitled, Can God Tell Time? It completely and totally refutes such activities as Mr. J KLY and anyone else who puts the coming of the Lord in our future. You can have a copy of Can God Tell Time absolutely free. Go to my website, www.eschatology.org, BibleProphecy.com. Say that you saw the offer for Can God Tell Time on YouTube or Facebook. I'll send you that book absolutely free. Look, it may well change your entire paradigm, but it will change it for the better. Okay, thanks so much for joining me. Contact us about the book, Can God Tell Time? In the meantime, we'll see you on the flip side.